Thank you very much, Moderator, for this opportunity to say a few words on this issue. Your Eminences, the organizers of the conference. I'd like to thank in particular Dr. Ambarakis and Mr. Pedrokas for inviting me and involving me in this process, where I've really learned quite a great deal of information and knowledge, which is extremely valuable. Now, I'd like to focus more on what we need to do in order to realize the goals that we want to achieve. I think that at the level of international instruments, the norms are very clear. I mean, both my colleagues and others earlier on today referred to the various international conventions, the covenants, and we also have regional instruments, the American Convention, the European Convention, the African Convention. They're all very, very clear in terms of the norms. But I think as we go forward, we need to continue to emphasize the responsibility of states, and that what is it that they undertake to do once they join these conventions. And I think this is very important that we continue to articulate this for two reasons. One, to clarify the norms, and earlier on was reference in terms of when you are, for example, developing a constitution, that it is very empowering, but also it does empower our colleagues who work at the national level in terms of support so that they actually can pursue these goals. And I think states, when they join these conventions, do undertake to ensure that in fact they guarantee these rights within their jurisdiction, and also that they promote these rights within their jurisdiction. And thirdly, that in the event that these rights are being violated, they must provide remedies to persons that whose rights are violated. But I think that that of course means that basically the state must create a framework within which these rights can be enjoyed, passing legislation to ensure that they give effect to these rights within the domestic environment. But it also involves being sensitive towards the needs of various communities within their jurisdiction, and willingness to make room for other values to exist within their jurisdiction. And I think a further obligation involves being open towards, especially with the courts, in terms of judicial interpretations that potentially favor the enforcement of these rights within domestic environments. And beyond that, I think that we must realize that we have given situations in these societies, in these communities, and what we're dealing with is really a structural problem. And therefore, that as we clarify the norms, we also have to be very clear in our goal that in order to ensure that these freedoms are observed in these countries, we really do need transformation of these societies. Because after decades of suppressing rights of people, usually the structures do not need any laws, really. What you need is now to reform and transform what has been created by those laws. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges that we face, that we have to accept that this is an important objective, that we have to see it in that context. Now, of course, as was mentioned, you can either, in terms of reform of society, you can either go in a revolutionary way, or you can go in an incremental way. But I think that clearly, the revolutionary way is very destructive in that it tends to sweep away all structures. And I think that it's possible to achieve these objectives with working on an incremental basis. So I think that that's the point that I really wanted to emphasize, that we have to look at the question of having the norms clarified as we do. What do we need to actually transform this society so that in fact they can make these rights real in the various communities that we are dealing with.